Greetings, fellow travelers. This is Captain Olimar with a new presentation of the Treasure Catalog. Previously, we covered the first 7 series, and today we'll be covering even more of this comprehensive database, beginning with the Extravagant Breakfast series. Did I have breakfast today? We begin with Condensed Sunshine. This scent is dangerously sweet and brings to mind concentrated memories of my wife's adorable smile. But one can't subsist on sweetness alone. You also need solid qualities like trust and patience. Having those is like a big hearty breakfast for the soul. Flaky Temptation. This is an extremely dangerous food. Its light and airy appearance belies a rich and indulgent interior. Before you finish one, you're already reaching for the next. Is it even possible to deny such temptation? And do I even want to? Cushion Cake. I nap in the pilot seat sometimes, but a cushion like this would be a great alternative. The only weird part is that it's edible. Does that mean something or someone could eat it right out from under you? That's a major drawback. Puzzle Snack. Its shape is mesmerizing. I only wish I could understand how it was sculpted. The more I think about it, the hungrier I get. Thankfully, the salty and sweet pillowy interior is as re-energizing as it is delicious. But then I start thinking again, and the cycle continues. We have now reached the Sacred Sphere series, beginning with the Sphere of Desire. There's nothing in the universe more interesting than the universe itself. A curious and inquisitive mind will never be satisfied, no matter how much you explore. I hope I feel this way as long as I can. It's important to stay interested in your work. Sphere of Family. It's often said that you don't realize how much your parents have done for you until it's too late to thank them. I try to show my gratitude and keep in touch as much as I can with video calls, but as soon as my kids pop on screen, my parents forget I'm there. Sphere of Heart. I know it's impossible to read minds, but I'm particularly clueless when it comes to relationships. When we first started dating, my wife was gracious enough to explain how she felt in great detail. I'm still awkward, but any social skills I do have are thanks to her. Sphere of Beginnings. I've never minded having to start over or pick up my life at the flip of a switch. My environment and those in my social circle, try saying that 5 times fast, might change. But as long as I have my family with me, I'll still be me. They always call me out when I'm acting totally weird. Sphere of Vitality. It's become painfully obvious to me that the mind and body are closely linked. Spending so much time away from my family is hard on my mental health, and it visibly takes a toll on my body. Even when I eat healthy and exercise, I really miss them. Sphere of Calm. It just occurred to me that I haven't had a checkup in... I'm embarrassed to say how long. You're supposed to do it once a year, but I keep putting it off. Lately, my elbow's been making an odd clicking sound every time I move it. I should get it checked out eventually. Sphere of Good Fortune. Getting lost in space is as good as a death sentence. The newest ships have technology that can locate the closest planet and initiate an emergency landing. Yet they still haven't built a navigation system that can detect and avoid incoming meteorites and space trash. Sphere of Trust. It's easy to lose someone's trust, despite the fact that it takes so long to build it in the first place. But once you have that trust and support, It's much easier to achieve your goals. I'd rather be able to count on someone I trust than leave it all up to chance. Sphere of support. I never consider myself to be someone with a lot of inner strength or fortitude, but my wife seems to disagree. I must be playing it way too cool when we're together. Sphere of truth. This bowl is meant to represent truth, but the truth is never truly black or white. It's both subjective and objective, and extremely tricky. I think the color gray would make more sense for this object, or maybe that hideous brown you get when you mix all the paint colors together. And now we've arrived at the spring crop favorite. Oh, I mean series, but it is a favorite. Sunseed berry. The scent of this fruit tickles my heart for some reason. It makes me think back on summer memories, my wife smiling at me in the sunlight. She'd probably have a good laugh if she ever read this, but that wouldn't be so bad. I happen to love that sound. Cupid's grenade. What a perplexing plant. It appears to be carrying two different types of berries. They must be a rare species of fruit. Both have odd traits. One seems to be a suppressant, while the other is a stimulant. It's not easy to tell which is which. Searing Ashitok. In my youth, I used to power through long night shifts by sucking on sour fruit candy. It somehow energized me and kept me wide awake. I couldn't do that now, even with the candy, but it's an example of how sometimes things turning sour can work out for the best. Velvety Dream Drop. When my first child was born, my wife and I would sit outside in the warm spring weather and take turns rocking him in our arms. Those days were filled with endless joy. The sunlight bouncing off his downy hair looks just like this. Astringent Clump. The night after I ate this fruit, I had a dream in which I saw lots of them growing, clustered together on a tree. If I were able to grow and harvest that many, we'd never run out of food. I suppose we won't know what's possible until I plant the first seed. Wayward Moon. Picking the right get-well-soon gift is notoriously tricky. You're supposed to choose something you think the recipient would enjoy and ignore your own preferences. That's easier said than done. When I can't think of anything good, I usually default to some sort of food, like this fruit. I know I'm always hungry when I'm sick. And now we reach the Summer Fruit series. Yes, we have reached the Summer Fruit series, just checking there. Yes, the Lesser Mock Bottom. One whiff of this fruit will have your mouth watering, but the taste itself is sour and slightly disappointing. However, you can't let results like this keep you from trying new things. There's no greater quality than an adventurous spirit. Mock Bottom. Extremely sweet, almost too sweet. The flavor makes you feel drowsy with joy, and you want to soak in those joyful juices forever and ever. I may need to limit my intake when it comes to this fruit. Dawn Pustules. This fruit comes in bunches, so you can keep eating them and never run out. A single berry satisfies my appetite, but I'm grateful to live in a universe with such a natural abundance. Dust Pustules. I've noticed that the skin contains a substance with antioxidant properties. That's probably why I feel so fresh and invigorated after I eat one. I wonder how I'd feel after eating two. Crimson Banquet. I look at this fruit and am instantly overcome by the urge to split it into a million pieces. I closed my eyes to avoid the thought, but the impulse just got stronger. I must be holding on to a deep desire to take on and defeat a giant spherical obstacle. Juicy gaggle. Numerous pockets of juice clustered around a hollow interior. Much like memories, both sweet and sour, that burst with meaning, yet still cannot fill that empty place in one's heart. Gazing upon this fruit always fills me with regret. Autumn Harvest series, starting with the Zest Bomb. Seems to be a citrus lamp, but younger and very green. Inexperience is usually perceived as a weakness, but its power should not be underestimated. Many an organization has been improved by newcomers' creative and untamed energy. Delectable bouquet. While observing the plant bear fruit, I was unable to work out where and when the flowers bloomed. I was so frustrated that I couldn't figure out basic botany, but all those annoying feelings faded away as soon as I bit into the fruit's sweet flesh. Portable sunset. This fruit reminds me of a particular sunset I witnessed years ago. My son and I were walking home together one evening, and the sun was setting right across our path. I remember it like it was yesterday. It wasn't spectacular in the least, but I'll never forget it. Tremendous sniffer. There's an elegance about this fruit. Its graceful curves and subtle flavor bring to mind images of ornate ballrooms, overflowing with cultured guests and blossoming flowers. The simple act of eating it makes me feel a little fancier. Crunchy deluge. This fruit has a high water content, and its skin is so thin that you can bite right through it. It'd be the most perfect snack to keep in your pack on a long hike through the desert, if only it didn't bruise so easily. Disguised delicacy. The fruit on this planet is astonishingly large. If we could cultivate these ample fruits on Hocotate, nobody would ever go hungry again. Sadly, I don't know anything about agriculture. Maybe I should have listened to my wife when she told me to do yard work. Blonde imposter. My wife went through a phase where all she talked about was pictamin and its nutritious value. She charted pictamin U percentages, and then there was A and P. I never really understood what she was talking about, but she was so passionate about it, I couldn't help but listen. I bet she'd really like to try this fruit. And now we reach the Winter Reserve series. When I look at the company president, I can't see myself climbing the corporate ladder. To be a manager, it seems you've also got to be an inhuman, heartless villain. These traits allow them to squeeze their dedicated workers without mercy and still sleep at night. I feel that same merciless cruelty radiating from this metallic altar. I wonder if it was once used for dark, unspeakable ceremonies. Or perhaps it was once the desk of a corporate boss. We'll never know. Citrus lump. This fruit is so shiny and round, it reminds me of a beach ball whenever I see it. Yet it's so yummy that I can't help but get cravings for it and end up eating it all the time. The only drawback is that I'm constantly disappointed that I'm not on vacation. Face wrinkler. The love between my wife and I has been captured in all sorts of romantic memories, as sweet and sour as this fruit. It's fun to return to those memories and feel what I felt then. Sometimes I wonder how my kids will feel the first time they fall in love. Popped airhead. Some people may like to peel this fruit from the top, but I prefer to attack it from the bottom instead. Whenever I go from the top, I get this tingly feeling around my belly button. I find it very unnerving. Insect Condo. This fruit could be hiding more than a tasty interior. On more than a few occasions, I found bugs munching their way through the sweet flesh, presumably enjoying a snack of their own. How funny to think that I share the same taste in fruit as a worm. And we have now reached the tropical picking series. Still not on vacation. Dapper Blob. Don't ask me how I know, but if you draw a face on this fruit, it bears an uncanny resemblance to my wife wearing a hat. It even emits the same stylish and judgmental aura. Funny how the doodled version of her is as intimidating as the real thing. Scaly Custard. The hard, scaly shell that covers its fruit gets softer and darker as it ripens, so determining the optimal time to peel and eat it can be difficult. It's as if the fruit is actively trying to sabotage your enjoyment of it. I've never known produce to be so sneaky. Seed Hive. I always thought it was better to eat fruit when it's ripe, but this one is just as enjoyable and nutritious when it's green. The same can be said about creatures like us. Many think maturity is superior, but inexperience and youth are what provide fresh perspectives. Stellar Extrusion. To look at a cross-section of this fruit, you'd think it was a drawing of a star, like one my son would make. Stars don't actually look like that, so why do we draw them this way? Maybe the secret to the universe is hidden within those 5 points. Heroine's Tear. Peeling this fruit is arduous due to its soft skin. When I tried to eat it without first removing the peel, a rash developed around my mouth. I had better success when I slit grid-like cuts into the skin and flipped it inside out. The results were delicious. Slapstick Croissant. I must confess, I once slipped and fell in a peel that I thoughtlessly discarded onto the floor after eating the fruit inside. I'm really too old to be making mistakes like that. I can even hear my own voice scolding myself. Don't forget to clean up your trash. Fire-breathing feast. Throughout my life, I've met people who seem flashy or fancy, but were actually quite down to earth. I've also met people who are as arrogant as they looked. The same lessons should be applied to this fruit. It looks pretty intimidating, but what's on the inside? With that, that is all the time we have for today's session of the Treasure Catalog. Again, this will be uploaded to a video sharing site. I hear it's something called HokoTube or something. If you enjoyed this, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and farewell, travelers.